Hi friends, this is NJ, your host on this channel. So we will continue our discussion on the heartline. A quick recap of all what we have studied so far. What does heartline represent? The scope of the heartline can be studied on the basis of three parameters. First is physical. This line with lots of accuracy tells about the condition of the physical organ heart. Second is the psychological aspect. This line tells about how we relate to others on an emotional level. You know, the kind of attitude we carry in the relationships, the expectation we have in the relationship. You know, whenever those times we feel disappointed or rejected in the relationship, how we come out of that, the recovery mode, all that can also be seen from the condition of the heartline. Our expectation from love, our attitude in marriage, all that can be mapped from the condition of the heartline. This line also tells about the spiritual aspect, where you will get to know someone's capacity to sacrifice himself or offer himself for the higher goals, for the humanity, all the humanitarian pursuits, philanthropic pursuits, compassion, joy, forgiveness, surrender, all that can also be seen from the condition of the heartline. So in this part we are just going to discuss what would remain to be the signification when you'll find the heartline to be originating from different points. So the common point of the heartline to originate is from over this portion, because there has been a lot of contradiction and lots of differing view by different palmists over from which point does the heartline originate or begin. Many people take this as the beginning point and many take this as the beginning point. Though in my own research I have found this to be the origin point of the heartline. So what would remain to be the difference when you'll find the heartline to be originating from different points? So you need to understand that. Why is it important to understand the origin of the heartline? It is important because this just tells about what remains to be the motivating factor, what remains to be the motivation for an individual or its desire to get into a deep, committed, loving relationship. So in short, the origin of the heartline tells about an individual's desire to get into a deep, committed relationship. So that could be anything, whether the sensual aspect is the driving factor, whether the remain in a lovable relationship, or being loved is a driving factor, or some other ulterior intentions can also be the driving factor. So the origin just helps us in getting know that if this person will remain to be a relationship, what could remain to be the driving factor or the reason behind for him to be in those relationship. So before we get into that, you need to understand there can be two kind of formation for the heartline to have. One is when you'll find the heartline to be something like this, where the line is upward, and second is when you'll find the line to be in a downward kind of formation. So the only difference which would come is that all these people who would have this kind of upward kind of formation of the heartline at the origin. This is the origin, and as you can see, the origin, the formation is of upward. So this would just tell about their heart is open towards inviting goodness and all those kind of feelings and emotions of other people for their aid. Because many times you would also find those people whenever they are even going through tough times or they are in their need of help. So even if someone is trying to help them out, they will always question other people's intention, those typical cynics. So when it comes to the upward rising heartline, this kind of formation at the origin, this would just tell about all those people who are open towards inviting love in their life. They are like cheerful, they are optimistic, they are confident towards inviting new relationship into their life. And the complete opposite is when you'll find the heartline to be downward at the origin. This would just tell about all those people who questions and see all those kind of overtures and kind of approach which other people are making towards them with full of question, with full of cynicism. So this is the kind of the case when you'll find the heartline to be downward at the origin. Next is when you'll find the heartline to be of these three kind of formation at the origin. One is when you'll find the heartline to be of single line in this kind of formation to be originating. So this would just tell about that no matter these people would remain to have good state of the heart in terms of their emotional contact and their feelings, they would remain to be very sorted. But the only problem is that their emotional and their feeling aspect would remain to be very much restricted to their own loved ones, to their family and their close knitted friends. But let's say if we'll find this kind of formation at the origin of the heartline, in a fork kind of formation. So this would just intensify the signification of emotions and feeling inculcated in someone's personality. This would just tell about these people would remain to be, too emotional, and their feeling aspect would remain to be too intense that sometimes it would just take a toll into the relationship because of their high expectation from their partners and from all their relationship or from all of their friends. So this is not a negative aspect, just because this, whenever this branch kind of formation happens at the end of the or at the origin of the any line, this would just kind of improves it and increases the benefits and the signification of that particular line. So this is a positive formation at the origin of the heart line. The only clause, only condition is that the person shouldn't keep too much of high expectation from his relationship, from his partner. Next is when you'll find the heart line to be of three-pronged fork at the origin, something like this. This is a typical trident formation at the origin, which is considered as extremely good in for any line to have. So this would just indicate that this person would remain to be, this person would have the potential of high spirituality, his compassion, his joy, his emotion aspect would remain to be very high, would remain to be very pious, would remain to be very successful. And this is also a kind of very Raj Yoga which we say. So this person would have the potential to attract name, fame and high level of success into his life. And let's say along with this kind of formation, if you'll also find other artistic and creative signs present in a very good condition, so this would just also indicate that the person could also get name and fame in any of the artistic and creative business. So let's say along with this kind of formation, you'll also find the fingertips to be conic. You'll find the hand to be of water shape. So water shape hand is when the palm would remain to be long and the fingers would also remain to be long. And along with that, the mount of Venus to also be in a good state, the color of the overall hand to be pink in color. So overall of this combination would indicate that the person has the potential to attract good name and fame in his life. And like the way I always say, the presence of sunlight would just accentuate all those benefits and all those signification. So this is about the different kind of fork kind of formation if we'll find at the origin of the heart line. Next is, though this portion we are just going to discuss in detail in the subsequent video, just I'm giving you a small clue of what would remain to be the signification when you'll find the origin of the heart line to be little bit shifted towards different mounts. So the signification would remain to be something like this. Let's say if you will find the heart line to be originating from the Jupiter mount. So something like this. Like the way you can see, this heart line is originating from this portion, which is known as the mounts, which is of great importance in palmistry, and this mount specifically is of Jupiter. Jupiter mount, which represents spirituality, desire for leadership, all the righteousness qualities, virtues get seen from this mount. So what would happen is, whenever you will find the heart line to be originating from the Jupiter mount, this would just make these people very spiritual and very idealistic. So this kind of love would remain to be very idealistic. Next is when you'll find the heart line to be crossing the entire palm. So let's say something like this. Heart line just going from one end to another end. So this would just make love, emotions and feeling of great importance in these people's life. So the first case was idealistic love, and second case is too much of the love, too much of the heart. Next is when you'll find the heart line to be originating between the index finger and the middle finger. So this is the Jupiter mount, this is the Saturn mount, and you will find the heart line to be originating from the midsection, somewhere from over here. Somewhere over here. So this would just tell about someone who would remain to be very practical in the matters of the love. He would not be too rigid, he would not be too emotional. This person would remain to be very practical in the matters of his emotions, in the matters of his affections, and you will not find these kind of people getting just swayed away by the gust of the emotions. Next is when you'll find the heart line to be originating from the Saturn mount. This is the middle finger, and you'll find the heart line to be originating under the middle finger from the Saturn mount. This just tells about the sensual aspect of the love. So for these people, even the hugging and the normal kissing is important rather than just saying hi and hello. So for all of their relationship or their matters of affection and emotions, there needs to be a touch of physical in order for these people to feel fulfilled. Though whatsoever I say, we need to check all those signs in the combination. It's just the single individual topic which we are studying. So this is my job here to teach you guys all the basics of the palmistry. So this is the combination of a sensual lover. So Jupiter mount, idealistic love, heartline originating from Jupiter mount, idealistic love from crossing the entire palm, too much of the love, between the Jupiter index finger and the middle finger, between the Jupiter mount and the Saturn mount tells about the practical love, and this kind of formation where the heartline originates under the middle finger tells about sensual love. And last is when you'll find the heartline to be originating from the inner mount of the Mars. So this Mars has got two regions allotted on the palm. This is the aggressive aspect of the mount of the Mars, and this is the mental aspect and mental region of the Mars. This tells about aggression, this tells about our mental strength. So any point of time when you'll find this kind of formation of the heartline, so this is not considered as good. All what we can expect from this kind of formation is that for these people the frustration and negative thinking would remain to be very high. So what I'm saying is that the possibility would remain to be high that these people would remain to be little bit of negative in the matters of their thinking, and even in the terms of the disappointment. So a Jupiterian person would take refuge in vocally, verbally expressing his disappointment. But when in these kind of people's cases, they might even take refuge in kind of physical violence in terms of expressing their resentment or expressing their disappointment. Though with that said, we need to check it from other combination as well, which we will discuss in the subsequent videos. So for further more updates and notification on palmistry, please subscribe my channel and like my Facebook page. Thanks.